Hi, everybody, from me, Brent Graham. It's time for the Handicap Rugby Chat That Matters. That means it's 9 o'clock on a Thursday night. Well, I can tell you the New Zealand Super Rugby is over. A bit of a damp ending at the end of the day with the Blues Crusaders game not taking place. What a great tournament it was. We're going to miss it. Well, we do have Super Rugby Australia to talk about, but perhaps more important, European rugby getting into full swing. We had Gallagher Premiership last weekend. We got Premiership this weekend as well. We've also got the Pro 14, so plenty of European games to get through. And I've got a star-studded panel to get us through that. I'm going to introduce you to them now. And let's start off with the new guest. He's currently residing in the UK, but I think you'll pick up from his accent that he's, let's just say he's not where most of my guests are from. Mostly we have Afrikaans accents on this, but this is definitely a French one. It's Brady82. He's been a regular on the Good for the Game forum for some time. Absolute quality posts on European rugby. And Brady82, great to have you on the show.
Yeah, well, thank you for inviting me, and thank you for hosting me tonight. It's good to be on the show. Very, very pleased to be here. Very honored. It's like I'm reaching the Hall of Fame of good for the game. Being with you guys. So pleasure to be here.
Excellent. Well, great to have you. There's only one way from here, and Gavin will tell you that's downwards. So let's introduce Oracle Rugby. Oracle, good to have you on the show. I won my 500 Rand back from you last week.
You did, Brent. In your game, it was a decent win for you. The Force weren't as good as I expected them to be. As I said to you, I was on the fence in that particular game. I really didn't know which way to go. You picked it right. As I said, if forced, I would have gone with a Force there. But yeah, the Waratahs definitely the team to beat, I think, in this tournament. I don't think the Brumbies are any good, and I don't know what the outright prices are, but I'd be very surprised if they're anything under 15-10 to win this tournament. But anyway, yeah, you did win, and excuse me, the other two guys smashed me on that Reds game, but I got to tell you, they had no business winning that bet. I don't know how the Rebels didn't win that game. I really don't. As I said in my tweet, I'm the first person to tell people when I'm on the winning side of a team that I shouldn't have been winning because of all sorts of things that happened in the game. I'm the first one to tell you I shouldn't have won that bet. But geez, last week, if I had to take that bet again, the Rebels and the Reds, 19, never mind 99, 100 out of 100 times I'm back in the Rebels. I'm just going to do it every time.
Yeah, look, I was on the Reds, and I actually had a massive weekend in our pay-to-play Super Brew pool. I jumped from like 29th to 3rd last week, and one of the games I caught the games right. But I must tell you that that Reds game, I watched it on fast forward because I'd gone shopping or whatever it was, and I have to agree with you there, Gavin. I've got no idea how the Rebels lost that game the way they did, because they absolutely, the second half, they basically camped on the Reds line. But I've got to give credit to the Reds as well. There's a team that lost 45-12.
The defense was very good, Brent. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they lost 45-12 to the Waratahs, and they come out and defend like that. It was pretty impressive. I am going to, when we talk Australian, because we're going to start off with the Aussie game, because I know yourself and Couch want to focus on that, and then we'll all talk on that. And then the two of you, I think, will take a watching brief, but although you're all welcome to stay on the show, and Brady and I will talk about the Euro. But we will touch on the outrights now, because I can tell you one thing, there's quite a big price on the Waratahs, and it's funny you mention it, but I thought there might be some value there as well. And a man I see nodding his head, and hopefully he's not nodding off to sleep. It's Couch Critic. Couch, great to have you back on the show.
I can't believe Gavin has a bet on the Force and I'm not there to take it and at least get some money off him. I mean, that's just shocking. That's the 1 week I would have won it and I'm not there. But listen, Brent, I just want to say that if the female viewership goes up on this show because of the French accent, I don't care. I'm still claiming it.
I don't know. I think it's my hair, guys. I really think it's the long look hair that could push the female viewership up. But we'll see about that. I've got to say, Gavin wasn't keen to come on the show until he heard you were on, Couch, and he saw himself winning a quick 500 Rand and came on. Also, welcome to the guys in the live chat. We've got Chris and Shane on YouTube that already commented. We welcome your comments on the show, guys. Also, this is going out live on Facebook and Twitter as well. But let's get into the action. And I want to start with the Force against the Reds tomorrow. But just, Gavin, I'll actually start with you on the outright betting. I don't have it in front of me, but I have had a look at it. I think the Brumbies are around about 4-6. You can get 28-10 the Rebels, somewhere like 11-2 the Reds. And you can, I saw at Sunbet, actually, I was having a look, you can get 10-1 on the Waratahs to win. Now, let me tell you, the issue with the Waratahs is quite simple. The way I've looked at it, they've got to win both their last games to get into the top three, because they're sitting at the moment a point behind the Reds, a point above the Rebels. They play the Rebels in the last game. The Rebels, I think, have still got to play the Force. So essentially, this Brumbies game becomes important. But if you think they can beat the Brumbies, then you've got to say that 10-1 would be a cracking price on the Waratahs outright.
Well, just simple maths will tell me that if they're betting 6 to 10, what did you say? It was 4 to 6, so 6.5, almost 7 to 10. Yeah, so it's almost 7 to 10. They're betting 7 to 10 about the Brumbies. Even with their 106 or 110% margin, you're effectively able to take all the other teams and get around about 12 to 10 or 11 to 10 for that matter. You don't need to do that here. You just need to take the 28 to 10 Rebels and the 10-1 Waratahs, and you're in the money. Because I cannot believe that this team is odds on. I really can't. I don't expect. I expect the Waratahs to win this game, this particular weekend. And if they're playing the Rebels next week, then it's almost insurance, really. If you're a Waratahs punter here, because you're expecting them to, you need them to win both games. Taking the 10-1 is an insurance policy on your Rebels bet. That's the way I see it.
Well, let's get your comment on the first game, though. That's Friday morning. We got the Force up against the Reds. The Force plus 11.5 against the Reds. When I say the Force have blown a bit hot and cold, they've lost all 5 matches, but they've beaten 3 handicaps and they've lost 2. This one 11.5. It's a little bit higher than I said it, Gavin. And I find myself leaning towards the Force, but not with any confidence. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I'm not confident either, Brent. I'm going to go with the Force again. I've been on the winning side of those 3 handicaps. The 2 that they lost were last week, obviously, and the one where they got done 24-0. I'm having a small bet here on the Force. In fact, I'm not even going to bother with a handicap. I'm just going to take them to win the game. There's a bit of value there. I'm not spending a lot of money, so it's easy for me to make this decision because it's financially I'm not going to be crippled by it. I'm going to watch the game. I just think that the Reds are. I honestly think they were lucky last week. Yes, they had reasonable defense, but the Rebels actually lost that game. They lost it themselves. They were in control of that game and could have won it, should have won it, and didn't win it. I don't think that was a Reds win. I think that the Rebels lost that game. I think I don't know. That's the way I see it. And the Reds have not impressed me. So yeah, I'll go against them. I'll go against them again this weekend.
Right. Yeah, the Reds have also struggled to put 2 good performances together in a row. But Brady, let's come to you on that one. Have you been? I know you do follow rugby worldwide. Have you been betting quite a bit on the Aussie and the New Zealand competitions, or focusing more on Europe?
No, I'm betting on everything, even the Russian championships. To be honest with you, I watched the game today, and I managed to do some betting, and I even involve Jordan sometimes from Sunbet on those games. But no, I'm not a big fan of the caps. As you might know, I'm more points or tries punter, and I've been doing some stats today. Those handicaps and those games in Australia are just a coin flip for me. This is purely anything can happen. I was checking the caps for the past 14 games, and I think the bookmaker were wrong 90% of the time by more than 7 or 8 points. So to me, I'm not touching anything. I think Reds have been awful first half when they've been away. They scored 3 points in 3 games in first half away. So your bet on the Force plus halftime is a good one, I think. I think the Reds second half handicap would be my bet if I had to take something. And obviously the under points. I mean, I think the caps is 49.5 again. Yes. This is too high for me. So I think I'm going to go under and probably Force under.
Well, I can see Henrik Swatch here says, take the unders in Aussie rugby and on this game, and then take the dog for a walk. Don't even watch the game. And I must tell you, one of the best ways to watch your game when you've gone unders is to pause it or record it and come back in and fast forward. And then you just watch that clock ticking and you just hope you don't see the score moving. It's a good way to watch. I'm in full agreement with you there, Brady. I think the unders as well is probably the way to go. Just welcome to Joey, who joined us last week as well. He did give us overs in the Worcester Northampton game. So, Joey, we hope you got a couple more bets for us later. But let's go up to Couch Critic. Couch, what are your thoughts on this one? A tough game for punters, I think, if you're looking at the handicap.
Oh, Brent, I think it's only unless you're getting involved in the first half handicap, the Force can play rugby for 40 minutes. But more than that, you can't expect from them. They can't get points on the board. I think they've added a 24 and a 20. But I think Brady's call on Force unders there, that to me is the play. And even Jordan and them's strategy may be in running if the Force do get a quick score. then go unders on their points, because I just don't see them ending up. And we saw last week that the Reds obviously have a very solid defense when they really put their minds to it. So I'm not seeing a heck of a lot of points in this one, but I also don't see the Reds having any trouble with this Force team. I mean, it's I've been opposing them all competition. It hasn't been too profitable most of the time, but I just don't see them mixing it with the Reds. Also, a bunch of journeymen has been they passed it. To me they don't have a place in the competition. I hope they don't go into the New Zealand competition, because they'd be absolutely slaughtered there. So no, I'm definitely I'm considering a bet with Oracle on this one. I think it's 11.5 is a bit tight, but I'm definitely not going to be in the Force camp, that's for sure.
Right, well, we'll let Oracle mill over that one for just a little while. Just a welcome to Dave, one of our Facebook viewers coming in live from Dublin. Great to have the guys from overseas. And Gavin Cohen, Oracle Rugby, I've got to say, you've got a bit of a fan base in Ireland. That's for sure.
Yeah, Brent, you were talking about the women viewership increasing because of the dodgy French accent on my right-hand side over there. But you do know that it's all about me, eh? I mean, I do my quizzes on Facebook, Brent. I've got to tell you the standard or the highest demographic is women between 45 and 54. And, there's no surprise there for me.
I actually remember you telling me that, and you were dead serious. You said the Hillcrest Housewives are watching you or something like that. Yeah, excellent. But, Couch, before we leave this game, you got anything for us on the try scorers or anything in this game?
Yes, just for all the women under 45 years, I'll just add I am on the Reds minus 11.5 there, and then half-time, full-time, it's Reds 1 to 8 and Reds 13 plus. I'm going for that. That's my special play of Bet Olim. So it's Force to put up a fight first off, Reds to pull away, and I can get that at 13 to 2. So that's my play there, and then just a little bit of a speculator, nice 40 to 1 there to have some fun. Brainard Stander of the Force to get the first try, but the Reds to win the game, and the conductor's favorite player, Jock Campbell, to get the last try. You can get that at 14 to 1.
Well, first of all, Henrik just saying Shane, the chairman of the Oracle fan club, which I'd have to agree with that item. But the conductor was actually meant to be on the show with us tonight as well. And unfortunately, load shedding has struck. And it just reminds me of the one time we had the conductor on, and he thought he was in for load shedding, and we kept on waiting for it to come. And eventually he just disappeared. So unfortunately, conductor will have to catch the show a little bit afterwards. But let's move on to the second Australian game now. And I just want to go down and find it. Of course, this one's interesting because I think we're going to see some betting movement here. And Brady, I'm going to start with you. Brumbies minus 6.5 at home to the Waratahs. A Waratahs team who playing pretty well. And I've got to agree with Oracle. The Brumbies, for all the hype on that, they really haven't turned on many performances this season. What are your thoughts on this one?
I think since they lost their fly half, I don't remember the name of that young lads. I think since they lost him, they became quite, a standard team. They were all right in Super Rugby back in February and March. And that guy was quite good, but since then they've been rubbish. I've seen that Kuriani is not playing, Fainga is not playing, Frost is not playing. I mean, there's a couple of players that are not in the squad or on the bench, which is quite surprising. So I think the play here will be Waratah. I think you could have some 8.5 beginning of the week, so 6.5 today. I think it's going to end up at 5.5 or 4.5 tomorrow, but I will go Waratah plus here. I agree with Gavin.
I'm in total agreement with you. I think we are going to see some line movement. I know some of the lads were chatting today and saying they were surprised how slowly the line moved, especially the Brumbies have named a much changed side. But for me, the Waratahs are a side that have hit their straps. And I give them a very good chance of winning this game. But let's see what Couch Critic thinks of this one. Couch?
Brent, just looking at the comments there, I must say Henrik is known for the unders, but I think the only thing he ever goes overs on is the brandy. But just on this game, I think it's all the value of the Waratahs. They've played two solid performances in a row, and early doors Waratahs are one of those teams I just love to hate. But I must say I think they're the most improved team in this competition at present, and they really pitch up and put in a good fight. And I expect them to push all the way. And as you guys said in the preview there, probably 10 to 1 if you don't want to get involved in this game. Just have a little nibble at the 10 to 1. And I mean, it's not going to be 10 to 1 if the Brumbies, if the Waratahs end up winning this game. Then it's going to change everything. So to me, the plus is the play. In my preview, I could only get 6.5. I'd still take that 6.5. And I've taken a few a few extra plus handicappers there. And, to me, the team news goes a little bit both ways. It's Fala Fainga, obviously, is my favorite hooker, try-scoring hooker there, and Tavita Kurandrani. But at the same time, those guys just haven't really fired the way that they wanted them to, and maybe, giving them a bit of a kick up the backside. I see they've got Keita now playing at outside centre, so if he gets a bit more ball, he could be devastating in midfield. So maybe it's not the worst thing in the world for them to make some changes, and it could have a positive effect. But, I think the conductor said it as well. You can't really use the form book too much, but I think the Waratahs are the play there, and probably again unders and tars, or unders and tars to cover the cap.
Now, Gavin, as I bring you in there, I've got to say, Waratahs, I'm also on them on the plus. I really like them, and they've done okay for me in recent weeks. But such is the inconsistency of Australian rugby. I can't believe that I'm actually confident in a side. They got hammered 29-10 by the Rebels just a few weeks ago. They were absolutely... the Waratahs were awful at the start of the season. And yet all of a sudden, we're all talking the Waratahs. Now, I've got a feeling I know which way you're going in this game, given you do like the Waratahs outright. 6.5 points, you all over the Tars, I'm sure.
Brent, the game that we're talking about here was that they were 8-10 to win, and we liked that. I remember both you and I liked that particular day. They got beaten by the team that's going to win this tournament, the Rebels, and you've got to don't worry about that. They got the wrong favourite here, I'm going to tell you that. I have no idea how the minus is on the wrong side here. This Waratahs team, I don't even think the Brumbies will be in this game. I'm not even going to bother with a plus here. I'm going straight for the board. But again, and as you said, it's Australian rugby, so I must be honest with you, for those who are hearing the confidence in my voice, I'm yet to go over a unit on any of these Australian games. I haven't got the balls to do it. I'm not interested. I don't care what's in the bank account. I'm not touching it. A unit is the maximum here, but I'm going maximum on this game.
Your maximum of 1 unit. I'm just looking for prices here. Outright on the board, you got them anywhere probably from around 18 to 10. I'm sure you can get a bit of 2 to 1 if you slip around there.
I did get 2 to 1, and I'm happy with that. I'm happy with anything over even money, to be honest with you. I think it's crazy, really. I think they honestly got the wrong favourite here. And this is because of preconceived ideas of the start of the tournament, and they watched 1 or 2 games, and the Brumbies were okay. I honestly do not think the Brumbies are as flash as everybody thinks they are.
Yeah, and I'm just having a look. There's even some 22 to 10 there available at World Sports Betting. Let's go up to Couch Critic, though. Couch, anything else for us on this game before we say goodbye to Australian rugby for another week?
Yeah, Brent, I'm going to stick. It might be a different hooker, but I don't see the Brumbies changing the game plan. It's kick to the corner, use the rolling maul, and the great news is I'm going to get a much better price on my hooker this week. So I'm going to go for Connell McInerney. I don't know what his surname is, but in any case, he sounds Irish there.
He wears number 2, that's all you know.
Yeah, they've all got the same surname. It's on their back, number 2.
Okay, that guy to get over for the first try, he's going to get me 18 to 1, and I'm actually I think that's a nice price for Brumbies hooker. And then just anytime scorer is Jake Gordon. He's been really nippy from 9, and he's probably the most lethal of the Waratahs players to get a try at this stage. And you can get almost 3 to 1 on him. So have a little nibble. Oh, and then basically my special play there from Bet Olymp is the halftime, full time again. And I'm sticking to Brumbies 1 to 8 and Brumbies 1 to 12 that I can get 8 to 1. So the Brumbies still, just as Heinrich used to say, they're very, very tough to beat in Canberra. So I think they might just at the end of the day, get the job done in a tight one.
Excellent. Gav, you want to say something more on this one?
Yeah, he was talking about 3 to 1 about the number 9. He can have 5 to 1. He can have 1,200. The number 9 scores any time in that game. No problem.
You happy with that, Couch?
Yeah, I don't want to take money off Gavin on a little try scorer like that. I'd rather go bigger.
I'm interested in watching the game.
Let's. I've always got interest there. I've got some players running around with numbers and money on their backs. But we can take something on the 11.5 Reds there, I reckon.
Okay, I'm interested.
Okay, even 500, 11.5, boys.
I'll give him the 11. We'll do 11 Tano bet.
Perfect.
Excellent, guys. That brings us to the end of Australian rugby. Gavin and Couch, I think you're going to pop off and watch Brady's tips from the side there. We're going to talk a bit of Europe. You guys are more than welcome to hang around. But if not, great having you on the show, and look forward to seeing more of you for Australian rugby, but also, of course, you've got some South African rugby coming up, hopefully in a few weeks. So look forward to that, Gav.
Yeah, thanks very much, Brent. Yeah, I'm going to pop off. I'll watch it. I'll watch it live on the YouTube, and yeah, enjoy the rest of your evening, guys. Best bet of the weekend, definitely the Waratahs to win on the board. The Force, yeah, the plus, small bet for me, but I got it with Hahn, so I'm involved. There's no getting out of that. If you want the number 9, Hahn, you can have it from me, no problem. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'll watch live now.
Excellent. Thanks, Gavin Cohen, and thanks, Couch Critic. Good having you on the show, and look forward to seeing how your try scorers come home.
Cheers, Brent. Thanks. The only thing I'd like to maybe start Brady off with is just my first venture into the Premiership up north, and I pretty much the same luck that I had with the Sharks down here as the Sharks up there let me down big time last week. Old Rob Dupree had an absolute screamer of a game from 10. So enjoy the rugby up there, and hopefully they just skip past Rob Dupree and the Sharks can do a bit better this week. Cheers, boys. Enjoy.
All right, cheers.
A lot of bitter guys after that Sales Sharks performance last week. I know lots of good for the game money was on them there. But Brady, that brings us nicely now into the European competition. It's just you and me, and I can tell you that I haven't really followed the competition, so it's actually just you going to be talking about these games. We're going to run through them all and get the opinion. I mean, we love your posts on the Good for the Game forum. And on that note, if you are new to this channel and you haven't heard of the Good for the Game, go on to goodforthegame.co.za. And you can also click below the show here, and you can get our link to the rugby thread and see the likes of Brady's posts in the forum, because it's definitely well worth having a look at. But let's move on to the first of the games, Brady, and I'm going to start with the Gallagher Premiership, and that's the team that Couch was talking about, the Sales Sharks. They're plus 3.5 against the Exeter Chiefs. The Sale were disappointing last week. Exeter didn't beat the Handicap against Leicester, but they were, I suppose, convincing enough. They won by 13 points.
They've been convincing. They were a bit rusty at the beginning of the game, so luckily here in the UK, I've got all the games on TV, so I can watch all the games, which is quite good. And well, Sale Shark to start with, I've been really, really disappointed last weekend in Harlequins. No doubt on that. Duprees have been awful. I think the pair of center, Truelagi and Hill, never played together before. I think still need time to work together. This one is very hard to call, to be honest. If the Sharks are playing the same way as they were playing last weekend, it's no chance they're gonna win. And looking at the squad, I think Exeter is coming in quad with a strong squad. I think they're targeting this game. They want to win that game. And if they win it, I think they're gonna finish first, and for them that's gonna be a semi-final home, and then place in the final, and finally maybe win that Gallagher Premiership. So it's a really, really tough one. If I had to take a bet here, I will take the Chiefs, but outright straight away. I think you've got. Let me check. I think you've got the. What is it? 1.7. The odds for. Sorry, I'm talking decimal. I'm talking decimal here. So 1.7 for the. Yeah. So I will take Exeter to win. If Sharks are playing the same way, and I think they might play a bit the same way. That Exeter squad is really strong. They've got the depth. They've got the bench. I love Baxter as a coach, so I will go with them. That will be my bet, but definitely not the bet of the weekend, if I may say.
Excellent. Well, we've got plenty more games to get to the bet of the weekend. Yeah. So let's go on to the next one then. It's Gloucester up against the Bristol Bears, and Sunbet have this handicap set plus 1.5, so virtually a choice game here.
Yeah, and it opened at 3.5 or 4.5, I think, beginning of the week in favor of Gloucester. And I think because there was some rumors that Bristol will do a turnover, they are making 7 changes in the squad, which is quite a lot. But if you look at the squad, this is not a turnover. They are bringing their big squad. Gloucester, they won quite easily last weekend. I think they scored like 40 points against the Warriors. But I watched the game. The first 20 minutes, Gloucester were awful. The red card from Nanai is what changed totally the game. The Warriors stopped playing. The Warriors stopped defending. I mean, I was talking to Jordan during the game. I was watching it as well. I think he had the under on it. and they stopped totally defending. So not impressed with Gloucester. That said, they've got a good squad. They put Rhys Zimit, the young Welsh guy, as back. They've got Johnny May that's gonna play. They've got an electric backline. The forecast is not gonna be that good. So if I had to go with something, I think that I will take Bristol. The main line, I think, is you can have it at 1.8 up to, I think. And I will be looking at unders tomorrow because I think there might be some rain tomorrow night in Gloucester. I need to check that tomorrow a bit in details, but that will be my 2 plays.
And just quickly, the top game, Henrik just asking 45.5 points in the Sale game. Would you be unders or overs there?
I need to check the forecast. I know it's going to rain tomorrow in Sale during the day, but it's supposed to be dry on the evening. I've seen on some European bookmakers 42.5, and I think if I manage to find 42.5, I might go with over, because I think if Sale starts to play with the way they used to play and home, it's slightly different, and with Exeter, I think that M could end up with 50 points. Once again, I need to check the forecast because on those games it's really important, and the forecast in the UK at the moment is really weird. You check the forecast, it said it's going to rain, it's actually sunny, and vice versa. So I'll post tomorrow. My my thought on that game. But once Sale Shark and Gloucester, to me, those are two a bit this is coin flip. It's really hard to predict, but I will go with the 2 away teams so far.
Right, and let's get on to a big handicap game here. We got Wasps, who I watched a bit of last week, and I was pretty impressed with them, minus 17.5 against Worcester.
Yeah, I think that handicap is well placed. I would almost go with the plus here, and the reason is that Wasp is doing quite a big turnover on the team. So I think they changed like 10 to 12 players, which is quite a lot. I know the Warriors are doing some changes as well, but the first 20 minutes of the Warriors were quite good, to be honest with you. 17.5 is quite high. I would go Warriors here, but once again, that will not be my main play. And I will need to look at overs here. I think I've seen 49.5. That could become interesting because Wasps are going to be attacking. They're going to target the bonus point for sure. Worcester, the Warriors are an attacking team as well, so that could end up, in a tri-fest tomorrow night in Coventry. So that will be my play, but I will take the plus here.
Excellent. Maybe one of the guys watching, Henrik or someone, could just tell me, Henrik, which is the live game? I imagine we're only getting one of these games live. I might be wrong tomorrow night, but let me know which game's on Super Sport as a matter of interest. Let's move on to the next game then. Brady, London Irish plus 2.5 against the Northampton Saints.
So that will be my bet of the weekend, this one, and I would go with the Saints handicap here. I think, and there's quite a consensus on the forum as well. I think Betting Stick, Tough on Sport, and I think it's Rubadub are all agree on the Saints. I think Saints were not a great team last weekend, and I think they've got a problem with scrum half. Mitchell has been horrible on that game, so I hope they're going to sort that. Obviously, they're missing what's his name? Is it Reinbar that moved to Montpellier, the South African scrum half? Yeah, it's Reinbar. We moved to Montpellier. They're missing him a lot. You can see in the way they're playing. Dan Biggar was not in a good shape as well. But I think this weekend it's going to be different. London Irish. They don't have a good squad. They're gonna miss a couple of players again. The weather should be fine. So they're gonna play in the Harlequins field actually. So at the Stoop Saturday, weather is gonna be good. I think with that, with the forecast and the squad, I think Saints all the way minus 2.5. I think when I did my handicap projection, I think I was at 5.5 or 6.5. So that one is definitely the main bet of the weekend on the Aviva. Excellent. And I will be looking at over as well, depending on the cut. But yeah, could end up in a tri-fest as well.
Right, Saints minus 2.5, the bet of the weekend there on the Premiership. Let's move on to the next game. Leicester, who beat the Handicap last week, and it was an important bet for me because the Good for the Game newsletter, which comes out every Friday morning, and you can subscribe to it in the box below. I went with the popular opinion on the forum. I went with the Leicester at that stage. It started 18.5, and then I got it at 16.5. Unfortunately, it arrived. I didn't watch the game, but it didn't arrive by too much. So they lost by about 13 points. But I see here now they are, what did I see? Plus 1.5 against Bath.
Well, yeah. To start with, I was expecting Exeter to trash them last weekend, so I was the only one on the forum saying that they would be trashed. Unfortunately for me, I was wrong. But I think I've been impressed by that Tigers team. They've been very strong in lineouts. I think they won 100% of their lineout. They stole 1 or 2. Very good at scrum. And I think they're gonna bring a couple of players. I think Nadolo might start, might be on the bench this weekend, and he's a beast. If he's coming back to the level he was a year ago, he's a beast. He's gonna be a scoring machine in the Gallagher Premiership. No doubt on that. Bass, I watched the game as well because I had the bonus point for them, but in 50 minutes it was done, so then I changed. I think Bass, they've got a strong squad as well. They've got an electric backline. But for that one, I might go against the crowd once again, and I think the Leicester are gonna win. This is a home game, even if there's no public in the stadium. I think the stadium, you've got to repair there, and then just based on that and the fact that right now I'm just checking the odds. They are at even. Leicester at even at home against Bass. With the new coach and with the new players, I'm taking it. That would be my bet. I'm not even taking the handicap. I'm going straight for the main line.
Right, even money Leicester to win. Let me have a quick look at Sunbet, and I'll tell you that you can get there. Yeah, what are they? Yeah, even money there as well. And I'll quickly just check World Sports Betting just for a quick comparison. And they're a little bit shorter at 5 to 6. So yeah, even money looks like a cracking price there on the Leicester for the win. And that brings us to the end of the Premiership matches. And of course, we had some Premiership form to go on last week. But there's plenty of other matches because we've of course got the Pro 14 that gets back into action. Yeah,
we're actually missing a game that the bookmaker didn't price. I think, it's the Saracens game.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think the bookmaker are going to do the same every week. They are not going to price the game until the squad's out. I think they're worried that the Saracens might send the under 15 or the feminine squad. I don't know. I think the bookmaker are really scared, and none of them is gonna price them until 12 UK time tomorrow when the squads are out, which is a shame because I think I think Farrell is gonna play. He's gonna be back tomorrow. I think they're gonna bring a good squad home, but unfortunately, we are not gonna be able to do some early move on that.
Yeah, I guess at the end of the day, the bookmakers aren't in business for nothing, and they're not going to be once burnt, twice shy there, I'm afraid. But Brady, great news. I mean, we got Pro 14 starting. I see the South African teams aren't in action, the Cheetahs and the Kings at this point, but we've got the All-Italian Derby tomorrow night, and that is also televised, Hendricks has pointed out. And here we got Benetton Treviso minus 8.5 against Zebre. How do you pronounce that?
Zebre. I posted something this afternoon on that. I think I'm having a very, very small play on the Zebre handicap. I think I managed to get 10.5 at 1.71 on 888. This is an Italian game. Most of them end up with very low handicap at the end, like 5 or 6 points. And when I've seen the squads, I mean, there's like 10 players for the Benetton that are out, that are not playing. I don't even know if they are injured or if they are just, resting. But why would they be resting after 5 months, where you don't play? I don't get it, to be honest with you. But there's quite a lot of important players. So I think just based on that, I think that's the Zebre could be the right move. But that's a half a unit play for me, nothing more. But I think those two teams cannot qualify for the quarterfinal, so that could be an open game. I think that could be like a friendly game tomorrow. So I will look at the points here, because if they play like a friendly game, you could end up with all the teams going for tries and stuff like this. So this is something that I'm going to look at tomorrow morning when it's out. But very small play on that.
Yeah, I must say these Italian derbies don't really get the blood boiling like some of the other games, do they? It's a bit like comparing Australia and New Zealand rugby sometimes. But let's move on to the next game here. We got the Scarlets. Is that betting right? -8.5 against the Cardiff Blues. I'm just double checking that I got that correct. Cardiff against Blues, -8.5.
Yeah, so this is I think the Pro 14 is going to be very hard to call this weekend. Those guys haven't played for 5 months. And if you don't have the squads in details, then that's going to be tricky. I think the Scarlets are going to win that game. And I think they're going to beat the Handicap here. I've seen that they've got quite the best squads. I think they're missing Jonathan Davis, which is quite a blow. And there is a question mark on Liam Williams because he refused to sign a new contract and to reduce his salary by 25%. So is he going to play this weekend or not? That's the question. I've seen Cardiff Blues have lost their number 8, who's been playing for ages for them. The name is not coming back. I still think the Scarlets will beat that Handicap tomorrow on Saturday. Sorry, but once again, those games on the Pro 14 after 5 months, they are very hard to call. But that would be my bet.
All right, let's go on to the next game. It's Edinburgh up against Glasgow. Edinburgh here -3.5 favourites.
Okay, so that will be actually one of the main bet on the Pro 14 for the weekend. This one. And I managed to get some Edinburgh mainline at 171 today. I'm not going to touch the Handicap. I'm going to go for the mainline 171. I'm happy with that. There's a couple of players for Glasgow that are going to be out. I think Nakara is still stuck in the Fiji. Stein is not going to play. Siuli is not going to play. And I think I was reading, I think yesterday or the day before, that they're thinking to put Hugh Jones as a fullback. And that I don't understand why he will play there. I think Edinburgh are going to target them. Edinburgh, I think the weather is going to be rainy there, and I think with the you've got the saying that no scrum, no win. I think that the scrum of Edinburgh is going to be stronger than the Glasgow one, and I can see them winning that game on Saturday. So Edinburgh at 171 is my play.
All right, Edinburgh on the board there, as Oracle Rugby would say. Let's move into Leinster up against Munster. This should be a cracking derby. Leinster, of course, massive favourites to win the title, but 7.5 points at home to Munster.
So they're playing home. I mean the Irish Derby are all going to be playing the Aviva. So just for information, okay. Yeah. So you've got 2 games this weekend and the next 2 games next weekend. They're all going to be played in Dublin. So there's no, I would say for Leinster, even if they are kind of away, this is home advantage because they are used to playing the Aviva Stadium. So that's a big advantage. Now I've seen the Munster are going to play Sliman and Derende normally. They're going to play, so that's going to be good to see them in action. But the Munster has a problem with fly half. I think it's been a couple of years now that they've got this issue, and it's still ongoing, and it's still going to be the case. I think on Saturday, 7.5. I'm going with Leinster. They've been a machine for the past 2 or 3 years. They've been destroying most of the teams, and I don't see anything different on Saturday, unfortunately for Munster. But no, Leinster on the Handicap here.
Well, Joe Lyons, one of our overseas viewers, hope there's no Bok bias in the Leinster-Munster odds. Leinster by 15 points, so firmly on the Leinster minus. I've got to say, Leinster are a team that I absolutely love backing. I've had many a times when I've gone high on Leinster points, and sometimes they may start the game a bit slowly, but once they click into their rhythm, they're absolutely an unbelievable side there. So Leinster there on the Handicap, it looked like it's going to be a popular pick. Let's move on to the Ospreys against Newport. -5.5 the Ospreys.
That's what I don't have. I'm not going to get any interest in that. I've seen some people on the forum. I think it was Neil was all over the Dragons. I think he managed to get 6.5. That's going to be a close game for sure. I've seen that the Dragons are going to be out Jamie Roberts, who tested positive for COVID-19, unfortunately. So hope he's going to get better soon. They've got Moriarty. They've got, I think the Dragons, they recruited some good players. The Ospreys have been awful this season, and I think it started even the previous year. I tend to agree with the handicap on the Dragons. If you manage to get the 6.5, I think that's quite that could be a good move. But I will not put Granny's pension on it for sure. That's definitely not. No,
not even Oracle's Granny's pension on that one.
No. And we need to check the forecast. I don't know how it's going to be in Wales this weekend. So yeah, and all the Welsh and all the Welsh games are going to be played on ground in the next 2 weeks. Just for information.
Where the Welsh games going to be played?
So they're going to be played in their home ground. So Ospreys are going to be played, in the Liberty Stadium and the Scarlets in the Scarlet Stadium. It's just the two, I would say, Scottish. The Scottish Derby are going to be both played at the BT Stadium, and then the 4 Irish games are all going to be played in the Aviva.
Right, excellent. Good to know, and it's important to know things like. Yeah, I mean, I hadn't realised the Irish ones are all going to be played in Dublin there. And I mean, it's like the Australian rugby's been so confusing because you Google where the Force game is, and it still tells you, most of the places will still tell you they're played in Perth, but of course they haven't had a home game all season. But those type of things can get really tricky. Let's move on to what I've got down here, Brady, as the final game of the weekend. I don't know if anything missing from the Pro 14, but we got Connacht here. Plus 5.5 against Ulster. That line is currently available at Sunbet.
Yeah, and I went with the plus 6.5 2 days ago, I think, when I posted. Yes. I've seen the Ulster is going to be without a few key players. So Anderson is going to be out. Reedy is going to be out. Addison is going to be out. Barokun is going to be out. So for me, you've got key players for Ulster. Once again, there is no arm advantage for Connacht, but 6.5. I'm taking it. I think that's going to be a very close game, and this type of handicap I'm taking. I'm not going ballistic with that. It's not. It's a 1 unit play. That's the max I'm putting on the Pro 14 this weekend because those guys haven't played for 5 months, and you don't know what to expect. It could be like an Australian game, or it could be it could end up in a tri-fest. You don't know what's going to happen. So very small play on those games. Connacht all the way. So if I had to do the bet of the weekend, that would be Edinburgh on the board at 171. I think that's quite a decent price. That's not going to stay long. I think they announced the squad tomorrow at 12, and I think that's going to drop. But let's see.
Excellent. Right. So Edinburgh, the bet of the weekend. I must say, the way you make a case for Edinburgh, I think I might just go for them on the handicap as well. I can tell you what I am going to do in the Good for the Game newsletter tomorrow morning. We'll stick together an accumulator, bring it out at around 10, 12, 15 to 1, and stick in a couple of your picks, stick in a couple of the boys' picks from Super Rugby Australia, and let's see if we can give those bookies a bit of a hiding. But Brady, it's been absolutely excellent having you on the show. What other you bet on any other sports, or are you just a rugby punter?
No, I'm mainly I do a bit of rugby league. I follow Coach and Quill on the forum. I do a bit of football, but it's like the semi-final of the Champions League or the semi-final of the Europa League or stuff like this. They used to bet tennis and football a lot, but that was like 10, 15 years ago, and then I was losing money, on those sports, and I thought, the money is on the rugby union. The bookmaker 10, 15 years ago we are not that good. The trader was rubbish, especially, I think I made most of my money on the Curry Cup because the European bookmaker were like, you had a Greek as versus Cheetah game, and it was like over 40, 45 points. I mean, every day in the Curry Cup you had over, back in the day. So I made quite a lot of money on that, and now I would say 95% on rugby union. That's what I bet. But as I said, I even bet on Russian rugby because the games are live. You can watch all the games live on YouTube. Actually, there is a channel, and all the games are live. So that's quite good in a way.
Excellent. Well, look out next week. The handicap. We're having a Russian guest on next week to talk about Russian rugby. So, yeah, that's interesting. You can watch it on YouTube. Just interesting, I brought up a comment from earlier in the show, Hendrik making the point that the bookies must be absolutely nipping themselves for the Curry Cup. And the punters do job. But it's amazing how, as a punter, you start off betting on everything. And then over time, generally, this is my experience as well, because I used to bet, my friends always used to say I'd bet on absolutely anything. the Queen's hat at the at a wedding or something, what color it is. I mean, I would bet on anything, and I still enjoy a novelty bet now and then. But the reality is, you find out what works for you, and you start betting on that in particular. And I mean, if I have to look at the good for the game, if you look at our forum, we've got golf, we've got soccer, but if you look at the rugby thread, it's by far the busiest because we've got a lot of guys who just specialize. They love their rugby, and then within rugby, you get your specialists as well. You get your guys who love the handicaps. And then guys more like Henrik and myself, we've always tended to focus more on the points lines. I've always been good at spotting value in a handicap, but not necessarily winning, if that makes any sense. In other words, I'll tell you the line will move, but I'll still bet the wrong side of the line sometimes on handicaps. Where total points has really always been my bread and butter. And you find what works for you and you go for it.
Well, yeah, but I just wanted to say, yeah, I'm the same. I mean, I'm a points and a try punter. I'm quite the opposite of Henrik. I'm an over punter, but I listened to him and what he said about in the long term, if you go under, you're gonna this is the way to win. I think he's totally right, and I'm tending to look at unders a bit more than I was doing before. So thanks, Henrik, for that. For the good advice. I think it was a pleasure to be on the show. There is actually more games this week than Tuesday and Wednesday. The Aviva is gonna play again, so I think I'm gonna be posting on the forum from Sunday or Monday once the handicap out, because with all the new rules that they put in place, like the players cannot play more than 180 minutes in 3 games. They cannot play the 7 games in totals. They cannot be starting 3 games in a row. I think based on that, I think there's going to be some early value because you will be able to anticipate what the squad is going to be. So I'll try to be I'll try to post on the forum as soon as possible, and I'll move on the unders and the overs points and try on the Aviva tomorrow once the cut out.
Excellent. Well, I'll get the Super Rugby and the Northern Hemisphere rugby thread going nice and early next week on Sunday, so we can get those posts up. So do go on to goodforthegame.co.za and you can log on to the forum there and see what Brady and the boys fancy for next week. But Brady, it's been an absolute pleasure having you. Lots of compliments coming in on the live chat. The guys enjoyed it. Gavin even commenting that his wife particularly enjoyed your accent. So yeah, you better watch out if you ever come to South Africa. But
well, you've got my number. Send it to Gav.
Excellent, but it's really been great having you on. Thanks to all the guys as usual who make the show in the live comments. It was great. And Shane, I'll ask Brady to send me the link to the YouTube channel, and I'll tweet that for you for the Russian rugby. I think the Russian rugby is going to get a bit more following now that you mentioned that. But Brady, thanks very much. But it was absolutely great having you on the show.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much, Brent, and hopefully we can do it soon again.
Excellent. No, for sure, without a doubt. And it was good having you on the show. And thanks to everyone. We'll see you next week for the Handicap Rugby Chat
Thank you very much.
Matters.